Did you know that Trump might be using a madman theory? Imagine waking up to find your smartphone costs 25% more because of unpredictable political decisions. This tactic, made popular by Nixon during the Cold War, involves acting erratically to intimidate opponents in negotiations. In this video, we analyze whether Trump's tariffs, threats, and geopolitical moves are part of a calculated plan or a danger to the global economy. You'll discover how these policies directly affect your wallet without you even realizing it. Now, let's take a deeper look at the true intentions behind his controversial tactics. The Madman Theory, Trump's secret weapon. Have you ever wondered why Trump acts so unpredictably? It's not a coincidence or a personality flaw. It's a strategy that has its own name, the Madman Theory. This tactic is not new to the political world, but Trump has made it his favorite secret weapon on the international stage. This strategy has its roots in the Vietnam War era, when Richard Nixon applied it as part of his diplomatic arsenal. Nixon wanted North Vietnamese leaders to believe he was willing to do anything to end the conflict, even use nuclear weapons. His goal was to create fear and uncertainty in his opponents through erratic behavior, so they would avoid provoking him. Trump has revived this tactic decades later, adapting it for the age of Twitter and global trade negotiations. While Nixon used it specifically against an enemy in wartime, Trump applies it as a standard method with both adversaries and traditional allies. It's like he's playing a game of chess where his unpredictable moves baffle all opponents. A revealing example occurred during renegotiations of the free trade agreement with South Korea. Trump ordered his negotiators to warn the South Koreans, "This guy is so crazy, he could pull out of the deal at any time." Imagine being on the other side of the table and hearing something like that. This uncertainty creates immediate pressure to make concessions that would normally be unthinkable. The psychological mechanics of this strategy are very precise. It is based on the idea that when a leader seems capable of irrational actions, other international actors prefer to give in, rather than risk provoking a potentially disastrous reaction. It's like a poker game, where one of the players seems willing to bet their entire fortune at any moment, no matter what cards they have. Trump has managed to create a global reputation for unpredictability that gives him an advantage in every negotiation. He himself openly acknowledged this in 2015, before becoming president, when he declared, "There is a certain unpredictability about Trump that is great," clearly indicating that this perception was a calculated tool. International relations experts are deeply divided on its actual effectiveness. Some analysts, concerned about global financial stability, believe it has allowed the United States to regain positions of power, forcing other countries to take its threats seriously. Others warn that this constant unpredictability could erode confidence in long-term US commitments, weakening historic alliances. An academic study on this strategy reveals something particularly interesting. The Madman Theory works best when madness is perceived as a specific response to a specific situation, not as a permanent trait. This suggests an important nuance. Unpredictability must be used strategically and calculated, not as constant behavior with no clear direction. And here's the tricky thing for Trump. Over time, if foreign leaders conclude that his threats are simply part of his usual behavior and not a specific strategy, the effectiveness can diminish considerably. It's like the fable of the shepherd who cried wolf. Eventually, people stop believing the threats. If you are enjoying the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more videos. Let's continue. Tariffs and trade wars, the impact on your daily finances. From theory, we move on to the reality that affects your day-to-day life. While we debate whether Trump is a strategic genius or an unpredictable negotiator, his trade decisions are already having a direct impact on the price of your everyday purchases. What many people don't know is that when Trump says China will pay the tariffs, it's actually you who ends up footing the bill. Now, how does this strategy translate into increases in your shopping cart? That steel Tonka truck your son wanted so badly now costs $10 more due to tariffs on Chinese products. Basic Fun has been forced to raise its prices to offset these new taxes. The other day, my neighbor Maria was telling me during dinner how her family has had to cut back on their budget for special meals. "We used to buy meat to grill every weekend, but with these increases, it's now a monthly luxury," she confessed to me while checking the supermarket offers. Tariffs work like an additional tax on imported products. Although it seems that it is foreign countries that pay, it is US companies that bear that cost and transfer it directly to you, the final consumer. In addition, these import taxes directly contribute to inflation, making everything from your groceries to your appliances cost more. When Trump uses 25% tariffs as a threat against Mexico or Canada to control immigration or drugs, He's turning a trade tool into a political weapon with real consequences for families like yours. Economists have calculated that this tariff policy could reduce US economic growth by up to half a percentage point, representing billions of dollars and numerous jobs lost. As Trump himself acknowledged in a controversial statement from 2015, will there be some pain? Yes, maybe and maybe not. But we will make America great again, and it will all be worth the price that must be paid. This reveals something important. He knows his policy comes at a cost to citizens, but he sees it as a necessary sacrifice for his long-term goals. The worrying thing is the domino effect these tariffs are generating. When it imposes 25% on Chinese products, China responds with its own tariffs on US products, especially targeting sectors like agriculture. American farmers, many of them Trump voters, are seeing their exports plummet because their products are becoming too expensive in foreign markets. And it's not just China that responds. Mexico and Canada have also imposed retaliatory tariffs when threatened. This creates a spiral of trade war where everyone loses: businesses with fewer sales, workers without jobs, and you paying more for everything. You go to the supermarket for avocados, and they've gone up 25%. That increase is a direct result of tariffs and trade retaliation. Suddenly, the Madman theory appears in your shopping cart. This situation has another long-term consequence. Countries like China, tired of the constant uncertainty and threats, are creating alternative financial systems to reduce their dependence on the US dollar. If they succeed, they could weaken the dollar's position as the world's reserve currency, with profound implications for the US economy. Tariffs have become an invisible tax for Americans. They don't show up on your tax return, but they're there, added to the price of almost everything you buy, from televisions to the tomatoes for your salad. Trump's geopolitics, Greenland, the Monroe Doctrine, and the New World Order. Beyond the invisible taxes on your purchases, there are other strategic moves by Trump that seem strange at first glance. When Trump announced his interest in buying Greenland in 2019, the whole world laughed. Memes flooded social media and Danish politicians called the idea absurd. But what many didn't understand is that behind this seemingly crazy proposal lay a surprisingly sophisticated geopolitical calculation. What many people don't realize is that the economic impact you feel in your pocket is directly connected to these global strategies that are redefining world power. Greenland represents a key piece on this global chessboard, combining strategic mineral wealth with a privileged geographical position. This territory is home to some of the largest rare earth reserves on the planet. 17 chemical elements essential for manufacturing everything from smartphone screens to electric car batteries and advanced military equipment. Currently, China controls more than 80% of the world's production of these critical materials. The thawing caused by climate change is exposing huge mineral deposits in Greenland that were previously inaccessible, with studies estimating that it could contain up to 25% of the world's unexploited rare earths. In addition, the melting of Arctic ice is opening up new shipping routes that could revolutionize global trade. The Northwest Passage, which borders Greenland, could reduce the distance between Asia and Europe by up to 4,000 kilometers compared to the Suez Canal route. This strategic vision of Trump extends to the entire Western Hemisphere, redefining America's backyard with a modern version of the Monroe Doctrine. Like a jealous gardener who doesn't allow invasive plants, Trump has systematically tried to expel Chinese influence from Latin America, pressuring countries like Brazil, Chile, and Argentina to limit their economic relations with Beijing. In 2019, Trump warned that China must get out of our hemisphere and threatened economic consequences to Latin American countries that accepted Chinese investment in critical infrastructure. Under his administration, the Growth in the Americas program offered financing alternatives to projects that would previously have been financed by China. Meanwhile, the world is undergoing a profound transformation. The BRICS countries have evolved from mere emerging markets to create their own development bank with $100 billion, challenging the IMF and the World Bank. In 2023, 6 new countries, including Saudi Arabia, a traditional US ally, applied to join the bloc. This reconfiguration puts Europe in an awkward position, depending on the United States for its security, while its economic prosperity is increasingly tied to China. The pressure to choose sides has created unprecedented tensions in transatlantic relations. The impact on your personal finances is direct. Investments in European technology companies could be affected by disruptions in supply chains. Your savings in euros could fluctuate, and the prices of resources like copper could skyrocket. In Latin America, Pressure to align with the United States or China will determine infrastructure, national debt financing, and the prices of basic goods. In a moment, I'll show you how to protect your finances in the face of this new world order. But first, we need to understand another crucial factor that is transforming the economy as we know it. If you are enjoying the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more videos. Let's continue. We have reached the end of our analysis, and what can we conclude? Trump's strategy based on unpredictability has achieved significant trade concessions, but has also provoked a global defensive reaction that erodes US power in the long term. Do you know what is happening in the meantime? Powers like China are accelerating the creation of parallel financial systems that could end the hegemony of the dollar. And this is not theory. It is happening right now. Geopolitics directly affects your pocket, so it is super important to diversify your investments in different currencies and markets. Pay particular attention to key sectors for the future: natural resources, renewable energy, and emerging technologies. Are you ready to secure your future in the midst of this geopolitical storm?